There is a war going on between the spirit and the flesh in our body. Amen. Oftentimes we'll see that the spirit is willing, but the flesh, if you will, is weak. The spirit inside of us wants to do good, wants to live right, wants to be saved, wants to be sanctified, fire baptized, got God on my side and running for my life. But the flesh, if you will, gets caught up by the things that it sees. It gets caught up by the way it feels. It gets caught up by the things that, hallelujah, is present in the eyesight, if you will. And so the flesh begins to war with the spirit. And a lot of times we wake up in the morning and we get all excited and mad about the fact that we got to struggle with this thing that we call flesh. We got to struggle, amen, with doing right to those people who despitefully use us and talk wrong against us and want to set out attack against us, drag our name through the mud, if you will. We get mad and upset because we got to turn around and do right by them anyhow. We get mad when the folks say the wrong thing to us, and instead of saying I love you in Jesus' name, 4 letter words come to mind, if you will, and we want to bless them out, if you catch my drift. And it wars with our flesh, because even though we know folk are doing us wrong, even though we see things going wrong before us, we still got to turn around and do right by God. Amen. Help me, somebody. The fact of the matter is that a lot of us don't understand why it is that we're going through this anyway. And so we sit down and we question God. We begin to ask God 1,000,001 questions. Lord, why do I got to do this? Why do I got to do that? Sister so-and-so is talking wrong. Sister so-and-so is doing wrong. Brother so-and-so ain't where he's supposed to be. And God, why can't I just do what I want to do for a little bit and then just jump back in line? The fact of the matter is that a lot of us are always asking God these questions, and simply, amen, I come tonight to present to you a solution, amen, because before you found Christ, you had this struggle that you had to deal with. But the moment you found Christ, somebody say found Christ. Found Christ. The moment you found Christ, you got power over the struggle. Amen. Brings us to point number 1 in our text. Point number 1 says, I was born into sin. Fact of the matter is that we ain't done nothing wrong, First Lady Home. We didn't desire to be here. Hallelujah. All we know is one day we showed up. Amen. And from the moment that we opened our eyes and took our first breath, amen, we had a ticking time clock telling us, amen, that one day we're going to leave this world and one day we're going to stand before God. And there are things that we have to do between now and then. But the fact of the matter is that I didn't do anything when I opened my eyes when I came out of my mother's stomach, but yet I still had guilty stain on me. Amen. Somebody shout amen. It wasn't the fact that while I was learning how to crawl that I cussed somebody out. It wasn't the fact when I was learning how to hold my Bible or hold my bottle, if you will, that I went over and slapped somebody in the face. The simple fact of the matter is that I was just born. And so I was born into sin. The scriptures say, shapen into iniquity. So the simple fact of the matter is that I didn't do anything when I was first born to get like how I am, but I was stained with sin. And because I was stained with sin, the Bible tells me that I didn't have communion. I didn't have fellowship with God. So now I needed to find a way how to get that communication back with God. I needed to find a way. I had to find a pathway in order for me to get into the presence of God where I needed to be. I had to find a way in order for me to commune with God. I had to find a way in order to have a relationship. But I'm still trying to figure out what happened that I was born into sin. I'm glad you asked. I asked such good questions on tonight. The Bible talks about Adam and Eve in the story of the garden. Amen. Hallelujah. We find out that Eve was presented with the fruit in the midst of the garden. The serpent beguiled her, if you will. And so after she was tricked by the enemy, she went to her husband and said, here, take, eat this. Adam knew what it was. Adam knew that God had given him a commandment to stay away from it. But the simple fact of the matter is that this war in our body with flesh and the spirit. He saw something, amen, that was appealing to his eye. And he didn't allow the spirit to overtake the flesh. And so he gave in to what Eve had gave him. And from that moment, the mold was broke. The flawless design that God had given man, hallelujah, because God had desired that we would live forever, that we would be in fellowship and communication with him. But when Adam gave in to the temptation, the mold was broke. Sin had crept in. Sin had overtaken the world. Sin had came in and changed our mind. And sin had begun to war with us. And so when we allowed, hallelujah, sin to take over in our minds even today, we still get up in the morning trying to figure out whether we're going to church or are we going to watch the football game. When sin has overtaken us in this day and age, we all find ourselves trying to figure out if I'm going to feed my brother who's over here starving, or am I going to try to pad my bank account. Can I talk for a moment there? When sin has overtaken us in today's age, hallelujah, we try to figure out whether we're going to just keep our mouth quiet or we're going to go over and greet somebody in love. Sin has overtaken us in this day and age. And instead of us taking the gospel to the world, we got to find every reason why we can't go and say Jesus lives. He sits on the throne and he's here to save you from whatever sin that you're going through. We are warring even today in our body between the spirit and the flesh. Amen. And God desires for all of us, amen, to find a way back to full fellowship with the Father. And the fact of the matter is that, hallelujah, we are all using the excuse that we were born into sin to do the things that we do to tip and dip. Somebody shout amen. We're using I was born into sin, amen, to find an excuse to pick up the bottle and take a sip. Some of y'all don't want to talk about it, but I'll preach about it this evening. Some of y'all are finding excuses, amen, to go and roll up that green stuff, amen, if you will, and light it on fire and take a puff. Look here, we got to talk about sin, because sin, hallelujah, will cause you to be out of fellowship. Sin will cause you to miss your mark. Hallelujah. Sin will cause you to miss out on heaven. And what I'm trying to tell you today is that even though you're naughty by nature, even though you were born, all you did was showed up, that there is still a way for us to be purified and cleansed from our sin. Amen. I want to talk to you now about the second point in our text. Second point in our text says, I want to do what is right. I want to do what is right, because rightfully so, even though sin has presented itself with us and sin has affected the flesh of the body, amen, God still gave us a built-in conscience. Amen. Some folk call it the God factor that's built on the inside of us. God still always, even though we were